It's time to turn this teacup into a Halloween costume. And in all truth, when my husband Rob started this project, he had no idea how he was going to do it. He had an idea what he wanted it to look like, but not an idea how he was going to bring that to life. It took him several hours of both hand sketch design and actual SketchUp computer design to figure out how he was going to make this costume out of foam. But even after designing the teacup, he still wasn't 100% sure that it was going to work, so he decided to first make a small-scale model of the teacup to see if his design would hold up. So he grabbed some craft foam, a heat gun, and some hot glue and put together this mini teacup. It turned out so cute and was actually the perfect size to put on our princess on a doll as a little mini costume. Now that we knew that we had the right shapes to create this teacup out of foam, it was time to go to 2 different craft stores to grab supplies. First, we went to DIY for some specialty glue and paint, and then we went to Blick Art Supplies to grab the foam that we needed. We actually grabbed 2 different sizes of foam for this. There was a thinner foam for the side panels and a thicker foam for the bottom of the saucer and to reinforce the inside of the teacup. It took a lot of foam for this project. We actually had to run the laser engraver about 5 different times, and it's a big laser engraver just to get all the pieces and parts cut. And here are all the cut pieces that we're going to use to create this teacup. Rob finished his design and cut all the pieces out on our laser engraver. It was time to assemble. He started by gluing the saucer pieces and handle pieces together, and then it was time to assemble the sides of the cup. To give the foam the shape and curve that he needed, he used a heat gun, and then he was able to glue all of the pieces together to create the cup. But even though he had the basic shape of the cup, it still wasn't sturdy enough, so he cut some strips out of foam and added those to the inside layer of the cup to give it some more structure. Once Rob had finished the gluing for the saucer, the cup, and the handle, then it was time to add a layer of primer using a roller. Once the layer of primer was dry, it was time to use spray paint to apply the actual colors we were using for the teacup. Once all the paint was dried, we glued the actual cup onto the saucer. Then Rob decided that he did not like the way the lines looked on the side of the cup, so he used some caulking to make those lines blend in. And then it was finally time to start adding some detail pieces. So now it's finally starting to look like a teacup, but you're probably wondering, how is anyone going to wear this? And that's where my small part came in. Rob cut these pieces of foam out on the laser engraver, and then it was my job to sew webbing and quick release buckles onto straps that we were going to use to make the teacup wearable. Once I finished sewing those 4 pieces, Rob glued them onto the inside of the teacup. He also hot glued some extra webbing from the bottom of the teacup over the panel seams to give it some extra reinforcement. At this point, we thought we were done, but unfortunately the teacup was not holding the shape that we wanted it to have. So Rob went back to the store, got this piece of aluminum flat bar, bent it into a circle, and used some double stick tape to attach it to the inside top of the cup. And here's the final product.